Captain Pete Maverick Mitchell. Let me be perfectly blunt. You are not my first choice. You are here at the request of Admiral Kazansky, AKA Iceman. He seems to think that you have something left to offer the Navy. What that is, I can't imagine.
With all due respect, sir, I'm not a teacher. Just want to manage expectations.
How are you? So great to see you.
I'm Jo from Digital Spy. 36 years, you've kept me waiting a long time.
I know. I didn't know how to do it faster.
Was there, obviously, when I saw the movie, just hearing the opening music, The Danger Zone, and I was lumping my throat, was there a moment when you were on set that was really emotional for you, coming back to this character?
Many times, actually, surprisingly. I didn't think about it. I'm very much a guy who's in the present and kind of working toward the future. But hitting and approaching this movie, there were times, yes, definitely, many times where I felt it, many times. And also just the pressure to really make it right. To not do a cover of the original, but to honor the original and have it be, I always wanted it as, like the people who love Top Gun, that they could pull that off their shelf and then say, okay, chapter 2, they pull off Top Gun Maverick. That you feel the progression of that world and that character. So it was exhilarating, daunting, nerve-wracking.
Would you ever consider, please do it before 36 years, would you consider going back and doing another one?
Let me enjoy this evening, please. Please.
Thank you so much. It's an amazing film. It must feel like a very long wait, though, for it to come to the big screen.
Well, there was a couple of fits and starts, weren't there? There was, we finished the movie in 2019. We were supposed to come out in 2020, and the world had other plans. So, we're very happy that it's coming out now. We think it's worth the wait, especially to see it big and loud and in 4K and in IMAX and in Dolby and all the other things. So we're very excited for people to get to see it the way it was meant to be seen.
I've got to ask, since obviously Tom is revisiting a character from 36 years ago, you know what I'm going to ask. Would you revisit Don Draper one day?
In 36 years?
Yeah, no, don't make us wait that long.
Might be a different show. Don Draper in a walker. I don't know. It's I was very pleased with how we ended the story of Don. I think had we only made a 2-hour movie about Don Draper, I maybe want to see more story. But we made 92 hours of television, so I think we pretty much told that story.
I think with your character in this, we could have like a spin-off. I want to know how he's become the kind of commanding man that he is in this
I'd be up
movie.
for that. I'd be up. I don't think this movie gets made without Tom, though. So
I've got to ask: were you sick in the plane?
Listen, I'm gonna be really honest with you, Joe. I was sick in the plane. I never threw up though. The other pilots did. I won't say names. You can ask them, but I never threw up.
Oh, I'm impressed. Just watching it, my stomach was flipping over.
Did you throw up? Did you need a puke bag?
Nearly, but not
Okay, good. Because I don't think anybody wanted to clean that up in the theater. Just think about that. Watching the movie in a theater, in a cinema. Come on, now that's amazing. Nobody wanted to clean it up in a cinema. Maybe at your house they would have wanted to clean it up. You would have to clean it up, but you didn't watch it at home.
I mean, that's one thing, obviously, we've all waited even longer than we thought because of COVID, so it gets a cinema release.
Yes.
But we can now see why.
Yes.
Would you say to people, this has got to be seen on a big screen?
It has to be seen. Like, we went through so much in those jets that it would hurt for people to say, oh, I'm just going to stream it at home, And then you want the feels. Like, it was so perfectly crafted, like the beats of the emotional roller coaster that people are going to go on. You want to go on it with an audience member. People in front of you, back of you, on the side of you. Y'all all are going to go on the same exact ride. And it's just a fun, to feed off that feeling of this great movie.
When I saw it, it was at a press screening, and as soon as I heard Danger Zone, I wanted to jump up and start screaming, but it was all press, and I thought, they're just going to look at me like I'm a bit strange.
You should have did it. Oh, listen, if you feel the need to sing Danger Zone, then do it.
I mean, for you, what was the one moment when you were like, oh my God, I'm making a Top Gun movie? Was there something when you walked on set you just thought, wow?
Yes, when you walk on set and you're in a hangar and you see like 5 F-18s lined up, and then while you're sitting there acting, there's an F-18 taking off. You're like, okay, hold myself together. I think that's when I was about to throw up, when I was on the ground thinking like, yeah, that was nerve-wracking.
Well, you know, when you're doing a movie like this, sort of, does your agent ring you up and say, by the way, it's going to involve flying, and, you know, were you prepared?
I don't think, first off, you never say no. We did have to sign a paper that says, like, are you comfortable in the air? Are you willing to fly? We all signed it, and we expect to do some stunts. Never thought we would actually be in the back of an F-18 pulling G's, going through this training program that Tom created of every aircraft so we can get comfortable in it. Didn't think that. And when my manager and my team found out, they was like, you sure you want to do this? I was like, I signed a paper saying I was willing to, but I can't back out now. As the G's were compressing, the blood was leaving my head. That's what was leaving my head, and trying to figure out, like, so we're doing everything up there with the cinema and everything, with the cinematography, the costume and stuff like that. We're doing everything up there. It was good. We had an hour and a half, 2 hours to compose ourselves while we were flying up there, so I was able to get some of the lines out, and I think it made the final cut.
It's just fantastic as a fan of the first film to be back here 36 years on. Was it quite, how did you get to this point? I mean, it must have been very upsetting that you know that you had Tony Scott involved. So how did you approach it?
Well, we just find talented people and we enlist them to work with you. Talented writer Joe Kosinski is an amazing director. And of course we have
Absolutely. I mean, we asked him and he wouldn't tell us, but if somebody sort of said, do another one, because this is going to be a hit, do you think we could have a third?
Let's enjoy this one.
Was it quite a scary thing to take on? Sort of like, you know, obviously Tony Scott's original was phenomenal at the time.
Thank you very much. Yeah, well, listen, no one can fill Tony Scott's shoes. He's an incredible filmmaker and created this world. So, you know, for me, I just wanted to take audiences back into the Top Gun universe, but I knew I'd have to find my own way through it. So we tried to innovate in how we shot the aerial photography and tried to capture what it's like to be in one of these cockpits, which they didn't have the technology to do that in the 80s. Now we have that, and our whole cast, obviously led by Tom, did an incredible job just pulling off these aerial sequences.
Well, this is it. I mean, to actually act and be airborne and in a helmet as well, I think is, you know, if you were doing that, you were just sat as a passenger, it would be hard enough, you know, in a commercial flight,
yes.
let alone one of these little flights.
Yeah, no, the forces they're experiencing are magnitudes bigger than what you'd ever get in a normal airplane. They're getting 7 Gs in some of these airplanes, so it's very, very intense.
Well, with Tom, he's obviously, this is something that he's carried with him for 36 years. Did you work very much together because, you know, Maverick is Tom Cruise?
Tom is Maverick, exactly. They're very much one and the same. So that's why I think he resisted 36 years to going back. It just seems amazing that he and Jerry never made a sequel to this very successful film, but Tom was waiting for the right story, you know, and luckily I came in at a point where I had an idea that Tom responded to, and that was the beginning of, you know, this 5-year journey for us.
And what was the hardest thing for you as a director? Is it the aerial scenes, or is it the more low-key ones? What actually is more difficult?
It's all challenging on a film like this. Everything's a challenge. We put as much work into the drama as we do into the action. But on a movie like this, every scene is a challenge because you're striving to deliver excellence every single day. And like I said, the bar is really high with the first film.
You know, I heard somebody describe this as a dad movie, that it's going to bring grown-ups back to the cinema after COVID. You know, we've had Marvel films, but that's teenagers.
Yeah.
This is going to be grown-ups. Did you have that in mind, that the audience is going to be really spread?
Well, it's always been a generational film. Even the first film, Maverick was dealing with the shadow of his father's death, you know, so it's always had that generational aspect. Now, obviously, Maverick is the older generation. We've got a whole bunch of new cast and new pilots that are coming in, so that's really in the DNA of the story, of the Top Gun story, and I just feel lucky that we get to build on all those emotions from the first one.
Obviously, this is a big thing. 36 years we've waited for this. Quite interesting. There's obviously pitfalls with revisiting a character. Did you watch anything else to kind of see where others have gone wrong, like Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull?
No, I'll tell you what we did. There were a lot of conversations about the original movie. A lot of people had different opinions about the original movie. And we all decided to go back and watch the original film together and talk through it. And I had what I consider to be the greatest DVD commentary in history. I had Tom on one side of me and Jerry Bruckheimer on the other, and they were talking to each other about the making of the movie. And in watching the movie through that perspective, it was a very different experience. There's the Top Gun we all saw, at least that I saw in 1986, and there's the Top Gun we remember. And going back and watching the original film, we realized it's not quite the film people have come to
I found out because, I grew up with it, and then I watched it again a couple of weeks ago, and it was different than I remember.
Yes.
It's funny, and I think it's because there's been references to it. I haven't there. So people remember certain things and certain...
I'll tell you what it is. It's the power of Tony Scott. And Tony was such an extraordinary filmmaker, had such a powerful cinematic
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm now joined by the
take a story that was melodrama and tragedy, and he could turn all of that into this rich emotional experience that left you somehow feeling good in the end. So you forget all of the things that happen in Top Gun, and you forget what an emotional roller coaster ride it is and what a drama it is. And when we went back and watched that, we realized, okay, we're making a very different film than we thought. And that's Tony. That's really a testament to his power as a filmmaker.
How did you find out how you feel?
Yeah.
Well, I got lucky.
And you work with Tom a lot, obviously. Do you ever get sick of him?
No, quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. It's when I go off and work on other things, and it's so much more difficult, so much less challenging at the same time. And it's the greatest job in the world.
I mean, do you find that because you guys work together a lot, that you've almost got like a shorthand now on set?
Very much so, to the point where people standing around us cannot understand what we're talking about. We have to be reminded to slow down. And, it's mostly hand signals now.
So how are things going on with you?
Excellent. I'm very excited for people to see it.
She's an Oscar-winning film icon playing Penny Benjamin. Please give a warm Leicester Square welcome to the brilliant Jennifer Connelly.
Absolutely. I saw the first. I've been a pilot since I was 13 years old. Actually, it was the experience of seeing the first Top Gun that made me want to become a pilot, and fly people through Mustangs, and used to fly competitive aerobatics, and have loved two things my whole life, which is aviation and cinema. And the opportunity to work on this movie has just been a dream come true.
Did you find all of that, the kind of technical side of things?
It was, there were one-of-a-kind canvas systems designed to be able to capture all the photography, and Tom was incredibly adamant about making sure the entire cast could get in the cockpit and in the airplanes, and that we could capture it real. And that's something that, being fortunate enough to make 4 mission movies with Tom, he is if somebody says something's impossible, he kind of gets to work, and he's very good at accomplishing that.
Do you find that people saying to people, don't say that's impossible because he's going to want to do it and it's too big an insurance risk?
Yes, I'll never forget for me standing on the Burj Khalifa with Tom when we did that stunt from Ghost Protocol, and the way Tom constantly raises the bar and does the impossible. He's one of a kind.
Did you find, obviously, you've got all these actors that you sign up for a movie like
Ladies
this.
and gentlemen, I'm
Do you
joined now
wonder
by
that
the
they're going to be getting
brilliant
in
Jennifer
these
Connelly.
planes?
Jennifer,
What would happen if
how are you?
got in and discovered they were massively airsick?
Yeah, really well.
So Tom put together an incredible, basically training program where the cast graduated from flying 172s to aerobatic airplanes, then into the L-39. And so Tom really designed an amazing program to make sure everybody was trained and prepared to get into these jets.
Did you say that you've been very involved in planes your whole life?
Yeah.
Was there part of you that was like, can I be in it? Just, you know, the helmet, I'll be in it. You just give me a call sign and I can be an extra.
I was very happy to be behind the camera and just be a part of it. So, but look, I love aviation, and like if you look at that's Tom's 51 Mustang in the movie. It's him actually flying that aircraft, and fly one very similar. So I love aviation.
I seem to remember that when the first one came out, that in the US there were Navy recruiters in some cinemas. I think because obviously, you know, there was a huge uptake, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to happen again?
I mean, we definitely intended for this to be a love letter to aviation and to honor the men and women that serve, and so we hope we accomplish that goal.